Here it is, the Motorola Razr Plus 2024. So I love this phone. I'm just going to say that right now. Really good phone, and I like it better than I like the Z Flip 6. Maybe that's a surprise you, maybe it's not. Both are great phones, but I want to talk about the Razr Plus in this one. And there's been a lot of upgrades. So most notably, you can see on the front screen here now, 4 inches instead of 3.6. And it's just crazy to me. Crazy that the front screen is so big, it's so useful, and it's so easy to use, because that's a sharp contrast to some of the stuff with the Z Flip. But this one, yeah, brighter, better, higher refresh rate, 165 hertz now instead of the 144 we had last year. And it takes up the whole space, wraps around the cameras, and it really makes for a nice, good time. You can do all your stuff on here, scroll your Instagrams, your Twitters, play some games, and it, of course, saves battery because you're not opening and closing your phone all the time. Easy access, all that stuff. And I'm a big fan. Of course, you've got the double tap to wake, double tap to go to sleep. Of course, you still got the gestures. You can do the wrist twist, so you can go ahead and open the camera, turn it on. You can do that. That's nice. Take advantage of the primary camera on the outside. Use that for your selfies. And then, of course, you do the double chop action, and then you turn on the flashlight. So that's always nice as well. Fingerprint scanner is still there. Facial recognition, 6.9-inch screen. Bigger, brighter. Well, not bigger, but just an expression. It's better and brighter than last year. Big upgrades in the screen department. They went full throttle. So front screen, 4 inches, 165 hertz refresh rate, 2400 nits brightness, super bright outside. And then on the inside, HDR10 Plus, Dolby Vision compatible, Full HD Plus, 165 hertz, 3000 nits brightness. So 2400 nits on the outside, 3000 on the inside. And it's definitely noticeable. It's something that is very appreciable whenever you use the phone. So well done there for Motorola. And then, of course, 256 gigabytes of storage. You got 12 gigabytes of RAM, so you got plenty of RAM there. And then I love it still got the vegan leather on the back. When you pick this up and you hold on to it, you're like, I love the way this feels. And it's nice because you can set it down on a surface. You don't have to worry about scratching up the back because it's got the leather on there. It looks beautiful. I have the two-tone one. It's nice. It's like the gray, two different grays with the suede and then the regular. They changed the leather out. It is supposed to be better and more durable and premium this year. I do like that. And then there are a couple advancements. We have faster charging. So we got faster charging, faster wireless charging, and we actually have reverse wired charging now. So that's also nice too. So a lot of things have changed on this phone, especially when you look at it compared to the Z Flip 6. And then on top of that, you have the desktop mode on here as well, and some of the other features that Motorola throws in here, which is kind of a contrast because there's still no DeX whenever it comes to the Z Flip 6. So I like what Motorola has done here. Motorola has really leaned into the Razr. They've really been working on making this more premium. They made some changes with the cameras. So new camera, and we got the new, so they got a telephoto now. There's no ultra wide on the outside. The Razr kept the ultra wide from last year. This one got the new telephoto, which is fine. It's a 2x telephoto. I know a lot of people talk about like, well, if you got a 2x telephoto, can't you just do a 2x digital crop like they're doing with Samsung and iPhone? They're like, well, you could, but this I think does give you a little bit better experience when it comes to portraits and things like that. But there's no ultra wide. But then again, I'm like, who takes ultra wide photos anyway? I mean, maybe if there's a landscape picture I need to get every once in a while, but I use the telephoto and the primary a whole lot more. Same selfie camera, which is fine. It was perfectly all right before. And then, of course, there's AI features and things like that in here. They really leaned into some of the AI stuff with the camera. And, of course, I love the video camera mode where you can hold it up like a video camera and use it to record that way. That's really cool. But the biggest things you're going to notice are there's a lot of quality of life improvements. We got the Snapdragon 8S Generation 3. So the 8S Generation 3 is a little weird. It's more like the 8 Generation 2, but they made some tweaks to it. They're calling the 8S Generation 3. It's not a plus. It's not like the 8 Plus Generation 3 if that were to exist like we had with the 8 Plus Generation 1 before. So really, you're going to get about the same performance as the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2, which is totally fine, but there's going to be some more beefiness when it comes to the AI stuff, at least from my understanding. And the AI stuff is cool. I mean, they've definitely leaned into it more. And of course, a lot of that is compliments of Google. And then you've got Gemini. You can get the Gemini Plus or Pro, whatever it is. You can get a free 3-month subscription with that, I believe. If you get one, you can test that out. If you care about the AI stuff, you can definitely dive into that. It's programmed into the power button where if you press and hold it, it pulls up Gemini. So if you haven't messed around with that, Gemini is pretty cool. The screen is beautiful. I like it. 2400 nits brightness. It's 1080p plus, so you get that full HD resolution, and the pixel prints I think is fine. I think the speakers are good. Overall, I love this phone. I loved last year's phone, the Razr 2023 Razr Plus, and even the regular Razr. And the Razr made some big advancements this year too, because they jumped up, and this got basically last year's screen. So different chipset, but if you look at the 2024 Razr, it's basically last year's Razr Plus with some quality of life improvements and changes under the hood. And then this guy, the Razr Plus with the 8S Generation 3, and then all the other stuff. So like I said, it really is nice what they've done here. They've made a lot of different changes here, and it's something that I think that you're going to like quite a bit. And it's a good phone. And I think there are still some things they need to do though. And the biggest thing that stands out, if you take a look at the Z Flip 6, Samsung's going all in. And they're like, hey, 7 years of support, 7 years of operating system updates and security patches. You get monthly security patches with them. They're pretty Johnny on the spot. I think Samsung is probably the industry leader when it comes to reliability for software updates and fixes. And then you have right here, you get 3 years of operating system updates, 4 years of security patches, but it's bi-monthly, so you get a security patch every other month. The problem is, though, you kind of have to wait a while for the updates. We just got Android 14 on these Razr 2023. Like the Razr Plus 2023 just got it right as this launched. So we had to wait a full year to go ahead and get the Android update for the Razr for last year. Who knows when we'll get it with this one? I voiced my concerns, as many other people did with Motorola. They need to extend it. They need to get more reliable and better with it. And I'd like to see them move to monthly security patches. I don't think we'll see that anytime soon, but they made a lot of improvements when it comes to the overall phone. Even when it comes to the user interface on the front, when it comes to doing stuff on the front, it's neat because one gesture that I like now, so you can see the tiles. They've got tiles and different things you can do with that and the widgets on the front. But if you've got it on your screen, you just squeeze like this, do the pinch, and then you can pull up all the different screens like, oh, let me go to that one. Oh, let me go to this one. So they've made management and navigation on the front screen better. The widget support is better. Android 14 is solid on here, such a good experience. And basically every app runs on the front screen. And that's something I love. There's no having to go in and do all the stuff with the Z Flip to get everything to work. You don't have to go into the labs. You don't have to go in and get special software to be able to run everything on the front, or only certain ones are compatible. This, it's so easy. So when you pull up, you're on the front screen, you just swipe over it, you'll see a little pencil icon, the edit, and then you do that, manage apps. You can add everything you want to the front. I can play Boom Beach on this front screen. So it's very easy, very intuitive, and it's just a sharp looking phone. And it doesn't have this wonky screen on the front. Like the screen on the Z Flip is like this, and then it has that little divot and it drops down. That's the way they want to roll. I really much prefer the design here. It flows around the cameras. The cameras I think are fine. And a lot of people say the cameras aren't that great. I think the cameras are good. I've taken plenty of good pictures. Here, let me show you some photos I've taken. I like the camera. I think with the camera updates, the AI updates, the image signal processor, all the changes, whenever we had the blind camera comparison that this guy, MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee, if you are a tech enthusiast, you know who he is. If you don't know who he is, he makes a lot of, he's kind of big. He's got a lot of subscribers and followers, and makes his videos. He does a blind comparison test with cameras every year. And usually a Pixel phone wins it, but there's a lot of other good phones out there. And what surprised me, for the primary camera, whenever I had that blind comparison test, so there's like 40, 50 phones out there, the one I picked that happened to be the best, I looked at it later, it was the Razr Plus 2024. So I like Motorola's approach to their camera. I like how it has a more natural look. I like how it's not over sharpened. And I like how if you've got good light, it takes some pretty good pictures. You're still going to have some issues when it comes to low light, when it comes to crisp video and things like that, which you get with a lot of cameras that are not the best and the brightest and all that great stuff. But I think that the cameras here are good. Point and shoot capability, all the stuff with the AI updates, and then you can check out the camera. There's a lot of different stuff they've done there with the camera, but overall, I think that it takes good photos. I think it takes reliable photos. Yes, they raised the price to $1,000, but everywhere it's basically on sale for $8.99, incentives and things like that. So I think Motorola's done a good job here. And if they can just fine-tune things a little bit more, I think that across the board, they'll overtake the much more bland Z Flip. I think bland's a good word. And the Z Flip's just fine. It's a very good phone. Very good, very reliable. They do a lot of things, but Motorola's way of doing business, I think, is a little bit bolder, a little bit more exciting. And the hinge on here, I think, is great. But also the crease is basically non-existent. Like, look at the crease on this one, and you can see it's a little wider. It's very shallow, and you basically can't see it or feel it when you're using the phone. And then we take a look at the Z Flip right here, and you can see it right there, smack dab in the middle of the screen as well. I think it's more pronounced. They have shaved a little bit, they made it a little bit more shallow this year, but across the board, I think that many of the updates we got in the Motorola Razr Plus 2024 have been solid, top notch. The cameras, I think, are good. I think they take good photos. I think they look sharp, especially with good lighting. And then, yeah, I think it still has the best front screen experience. There's been so many nice things that they've done with it, and the front screen experience is just, it takes the cake. It's so easy, so sharp, it flows well. Sharp for a Razr phone, pun not intended. And I think they're doing a lot of good things in the right places. And we'll see where it goes. And I'll have a comparison video later on between the Razr Plus 2024 and the Z Flip 6. Hopefully you'll stay tuned for that. Hit the like and the subscribe button, little notification bell so you get updates whenever that comes out. But I think you can't go wrong with this phone. And also, they did upgrade the hinge. It is more durable. And one thing people were concerned about last year, like, oh, you know, the hinge and the way that it works, and it doesn't feel as tight to me. They've tightened that stuff up. They reworked some of the stuff in the hinge. And this is definitely, I think it's probably the best flip phone you can get out there in the US right now. It's fun, it's exciting, it's cool. I love the colors. They even brought back the Razr pink color from way back when. And it was funny, I went to the Motorola launch event in New York a couple of weeks ago, and they had Paris Hilton, who was one of the big ambassadors for the Razr phone back 20 years ago. And she was up there DJing, of all things. Like, who would have expected Paris Hilton to be a professional DJ? Not what I would have thought watching her on the TV way back then. But it was a good experience. Motorola's done a good job here, so I'll commend them on that. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But good stuff. Also, I meant to say this, it does have all-day battery. Battery is pretty solid on here. We're in a good spot with that. 4,000 milliamp, the Snapdragon 8S Generation 3. You can even do some cool gaming stuff on here if you want to game on your phone. And it's good stuff. So that's all I got. As always, if you enjoyed the video, again, hit the like and the subscribe button. Leave your comments in the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.